The sun blazed over India's Ranthambore National Park, where a mix of tourists, photographers, and animal lovers gathered at the edge of the sanctuary's observation point. Below them stretched a vast, forested enclosure, home to Bengal tigers. Rangers stood by with whistles and tranquilizer guns, not out of panic, but as protocol. It was a place of wonder, risk, and reverence. Among the tourists was Michael Granger, a 32-year-old American freelance journalist who had spent the last 8 months backpacking through Asia. Rugged, curious, and often accused of being too brave for his own good, Michael had a particular interest in animal conservation stories. This was his dream stop, an up-close glimpse at the majestic, endangered Bengal tigers. Michael leaned forward, resting his elbows on a wooden barrier, zooming in with his camera on a tiger dozing lazily in the distant brush. He didn't notice the wooden plank beneath his foot begin to shift. A split second later, the world spun. The railing gave way with a dry crack, and Michael screamed as he plummeted 20 feet into the pit below. Gasps and shouts echoed from above. Some tourists pulled out their phones. Others screamed for help. Rangers scrambled. Below, Michael hit the dusty ground with a bone-jarring thud, his right leg twisting awkwardly beneath him. Pain seared up his spine. He groaned, eyes darting as adrenaline surged. Then he heard it, the deep, resonant chuff of a tiger. Not one, two, emerging from opposite ends of the brush. The pair of tigers began approaching, silent and calculating. One, a muscular male with dark stripes across his massive shoulders, lowered his head as he locked eyes with Michael. Frozen by fear and pain, Michael couldn't move. His leg was likely broken. His backpack had flung off in the fall. All he had was a tiny voice inside him screaming, "Don't panic. Don't run. Don't act like prey." The tigers were now a dozen feet away. Then something unbelievable happened. A low, thunderous roar split the air, not from the tigers, but from the far side of the enclosure. From a separate, adjoining area connected by a hidden corridor, a massive Asiatic lion burst into view. Gasps rippled through the park staff watching from above. The lion, named Ravi, was part of a rare interspecies experiment, rescued as a cub from a trafficking ring. He had grown up in partial proximity to both lions and tigers, though kept separate for safety. No one had ever seen him react this way. Ravi didn't hesitate. He surged through the tunnel into the tiger enclosure, ignoring the aggressive growls from the tigers. His eyes were locked on Michael. The two tigers paused, thrown off by Ravi's entrance. Territorial growls turned into low, uncertain rumbles. Ravi, now between the tigers and Michael, stood with his body angled sideways. His golden mane flared in the sunlight. The standoff was surreal. Above, one of the rangers whispered, "He's protecting him." Michael blinked through the pain. The lion stood less than 3 feet away now. He could feel the heat from Ravi's body, the weight of the moment sinking in. For a moment, everything was silent except the steady thrum of tension in the air. The male tiger snarled and took a step forward. Ravi responded with a roar so loud and primal, it shook the glass in the observation deck above. The tiger stopped. Then, almost inexplicably, both tigers slowly backed away and disappeared into the undergrowth. Ravi turned, looked down at Michael, and sat, guarding him. It took park rangers 11 minutes to tranquilize and reach Michael, but the video footage, already captured on dozens of phones, was uploaded within minutes. And it exploded. The video swept across the globe like wildfire. Social media couldn't get enough. Lion saves human from tigers. Unreal footage. Miracle in Ranthambore. Lion steps in like a guardian angel. Late-night hosts made jokes. Animal behaviors were stunned. News outlets ran headlines like "The Lion That Defied Nature." But the story behind Ravi the lion was even more remarkable. 8 years earlier, Ravi had been rescued from a cramped cage in an illegal circus traveling across Southeast Asia. Malnourished and traumatized, he'd been placed in a sanctuary rehabilitation program. During his recovery, he was introduced briefly to other large cats under strict supervision, including a tiger cub named Tara. Though they were eventually separated, experts suspected that early exposure to mixed species interactions had altered Ravi's understanding of other predators and of humans. Ravi had bonded closely with one of the caretakers who had once fallen ill in his enclosure. He had laid beside her until help arrived. And now, somehow, he seemed to recognize distress in Michael. Michael himself, once discharged from the hospital and handed crutches, returned to the sanctuary within a week. Not to sue, as the administration had feared, but to thank Ravi. Through the reinforced safety barrier, Michael approached. Ravi was lying in the sun, lazily flicking his tail. "Hey, big guy," Michael said softly. "I owe you my life." Ravi lifted his head. He didn't roar. He didn't growl. He simply rose, walked toward the barrier, and gently leaned his massive forehead against it, right where Michael's hand was. It was as if he remembered. The internet turned Ravi into a legend. Artists painted murals. Schools studied his behavior in science classes. A wildlife documentary team from the UK began a feature-length film titled The Lion Who Broke the Rules. But beyond the headlines and hashtags, something deeper stirred. People began discussing compassion, instinct, and the idea that empathy might not be exclusive to humans. A group of conservationists raised over $2 million in Ravi's name to fight wildlife trafficking. Rescue centers in India reported increased volunteers. A scholarship was founded in Michael's name to fund research into interspecies behavior and animal trauma recovery. Ravi became the face of a movement, one that said perhaps animals knew more about love and loyalty than we gave them credit for. 2 years later, Michael returned, this time walking freely, healed in body but forever changed in spirit. He had written a book, Between the Stripes and the Mane, a tribute to Ravi in the moment that changed his life. When he arrived at the sanctuary, staff greeted him with warmth and quiet reverence. "He still remembers you," said Ronnie, the head ranger. They led Michael to Ravi's enclosure. The big lion was older now. His mane streaked with silver, his gait a little slower. But the moment he saw Michael, he stood tall. They looked at each other for a long time. Michael pressed his hand to the glass again. Ravi stepped forward and did the same. Some stories are written in ink, others in roars, in instinct, in silent moments of connection. The footage from that day still circulates. But for those who were there, the true miracle wasn't the video. It was what happened in the stillness after, the unspoken bond between man and lion, echoing louder than any roar ever could.